Alarming details are emerging, things that until recently seemed impossible. At the center of world politics, everyone is discussing Donald Trump's trade wars, tariffs, duties, and conflicts with China, Europe, and Japan. But against the backdrop of these loud clashes, America seems to have overlooked a much more serious problem, a domestic one, a problem that is slowly and inevitably eroding the very foundation of the country. This is about migration, and the fact that today practically anyone with minimal knowledge and access to information can find loopholes and obtain an American passport. This is no longer rumor or speculation. It is becoming a reality, ignored in Washington, but well known to those who cross U.S. borders. America built its reputation as a state that fiercely guards its frontiers. But recent statistics tell a different story. Migration flows across the southern border are breaking records. The number of undocumented immigrants inside the country has long exceeded 12 million, and even official agencies admit control over the situation has been lost. Against Trump's rhetoric of a Great Wall and zero tolerance, the reality looks different. Legal and illegal paths to citizenship are multiplying, and the system is breaking down. Today, there are several real scenarios used by tens of thousands of people worldwide. One of the most common is sham marriages. Despite the efforts of immigration authorities, the market for paper marriages is thriving. The scheme is simple. An American citizen receives tens of thousands of dollars, and the foreigner gets a green card and then a passport. Verifying the authenticity of the relationship takes years, and by then, the person is already integrated into the system. Another path is giving birth on U.S. soil. This law, enshrined in the Constitution, has not been repealed. Any child born in America automatically receives citizenship. Along with it comes the possibility of later securing legal status for the parents. Hundreds of birth tours are organized annually by companies from China and Latin America. Women travel to Miami or Los Angeles, give birth, pay a private clinic, and return home, leaving behind a little American citizen. 21 years later, that child can legally bring the entire family to the U.S. There are also more sophisticated schemes. For example, political asylum. It is enough to claim persecution at home, and the American system grants a chance to stay. Formally, checks have tightened, but law firms have learned how to craft perfect stories for immigration courts. As a result, thousands of people obtain residence permits on dubious grounds. Recently, another loophole has become widespread: investment visas. The EB-5 program, originally intended to attract major investments, has effectively turned into a legal channel for buying a passport. $900,000 invested in a business or real estate, and within a few years, the investor gets citizenship. For wealthy Chinese, Russians, and Middle Eastern elites, this is a convenient way to legalize capital while securing a future for their children. But the list does not end there. The country is home to an entire network of passport factories that forge birth and marriage documents, through corruption in certain states, through gaps in the bureaucratic system, through overloaded courts where officials turn a blind eye to suspicious applications. Amid this, concerns are growing in the U.S. that along with the migrant flows, thousands of foreign agents are entering the country. China and Russia are accused of using these very schemes to infiltrate the U.S. with their people. Formally, this remains in the realm of rumors and journalistic investigations, but the facts point to a worrying trend. Several spy networks uncovered in recent years revealed that some participants had legal American passports obtained precisely through such loopholes. And here lies the central irony. While Trump is focused on trade wars, tariffs against allies, and loud political statements, inside America itself, a situation is forming that threatens its very future. The U.S. passport, once considered a symbol of strength, can now be obtained through channels far removed from legality. And millions of people already know how to do it. Migration to the United States is growing year after year. Trump's policy, built on the slogan "America First," has not stopped this process. On the contrary, the louder the White House talks about toughness, the more actively people search for loopholes. Because the world is globalized, and technology makes everything easier. Getting fake documents today is as simple as ordering a product from an online store. And here lies the greatest threat. America has always believed its main enemy was outside. But in reality, the enemy is already inside. Thousands of people come to the country not for the American dream, but to serve the goals of their states. Some gather information, some work in business, and pass data to competitors. Others wait for the right moment to follow orders. And all of them, with American passports. Washington has found itself trapped. Repealing the existing laws would trigger a constitutional crisis. Tightening checks would paralyze a system already drowning under millions of unresolved cases. But leaving everything as it is means allowing the continued erosion of American identity. That is why experts call what is happening a hidden catastrophe. Behind the loud headlines about tariffs and sanctions, the real threat lurks in bureaucratic details, in the quiet offices of immigration judges, in sham marriages and purchased visas. And this threat is far more serious than any foreign policy battle. America has always taken pride in the fact that its passport is a key to the world. Today, that key is becoming available to anyone willing to pay, lie, or game the system. And the consequences of this will be felt for years. Because citizenship is not just a document, it is the right to vote, access to government institutions, the ability to influence the country's future. And when those rights fall into the hands of people who arrived with other agendas, America loses control over itself. This has now become the United States' central problem. Not tariffs, not trade wars, but the quiet, almost invisible erosion of what American citizenship means. And if the White House continues to ignore this threat, one day America may wake up as a different country. A country where millions of new citizens have nothing to do with its values. That is the real crisis no one wants to talk about. And it has already begun. The migration crisis is slowly turning into a crisis of identity. Citizenship has always meant belonging to a nation, but today, that notion is eroding. If someone obtains a passport through a sham marriage or forged documents, does he share American values? Hardly. He sees the United States as a platform for earning money, a base for influence, an instrument in the hands of his own country. And the number of such people is growing. Economists are already sounding the alarm. Each new wave of migration is not only a burden on social funds, healthcare, and education, but also direct pressure on the labor market. In California and Texas, hundreds of thousands of undocumented migrants work in construction, services, and agriculture, pushing local workers aside. But with an American passport, they are no longer undocumented. They are official citizens, with the same rights as those born in New York or Chicago. And all this is happening against the backdrop of Trump's endless rhetoric about a strong border. Iron gates are built in the South, tariffs are imposed on allies. Yet the real problem lies within the system itself. It cannot be blocked with a concrete wall. It can only be solved by reform, a reform no one dares to carry out. Because any interference with the rules of acquiring citizenship will trigger a storm of criticism and accusations of discrimination. And while Trump's trade wars will sooner or later end with another agreement, the migration crisis will never end. It will only intensify, because America itself has built a system where a passport can be bought, cheated, or obtained through a loophole, and now changing it is almost impossible.